Excuse me.
And up. Okay. Did you know that the breath is called the great bird of life by yogis, I guess you call them? You hear that noise? The volume isn't nearly up where it should be, to tell you the truth. That's my husband snoring. My son taped that the other night. It's beautiful, except they really don't have the volume up. If you listen to that, there it goes. When he breathes, I sat up and watched him the other night. He goes, and the chest and the belly come up like this, and then with a big whoosh, it all comes back out again. You've never seen anything like it in your life. It's really spectacular. You know,
I can't believe that. All that coming up and going back.
Well, he's kind of big anyway. But, you know, besides that, I keep thinking this must be beautiful exercise for his chest and belly. And considering the fact that he does smoke a lot, this is especially good for him. He's really opening his lungs really up, you know, completely. And when he pushes it out hard, so he really tightens up, really tightens. In fact, I was thinking before, what I should do really is put him in a room, a soundproof room, and open the window so he gets some fresh air to pull in that way. If your husband snores, just make sure he's doing it the right way and let him go. Fine, stuff your ears full of cotton. It really doesn't work because I know the whole bed vibrates. I had a pillow under my head and over my head the other night, and the whole bed was vibrating with it. If the breath, what?
Suppose they pick that up in seismographs around town or something?
I bet they could.
That's really impressive.
But if the breath is really the great bird of life, then his has to be the phoenix. Because at the rate he smokes, it's rising up out of its own ashes.
Oh. I think that was lovely.
I like that one, too. Okay, down and out, and turn your feet, hop your feet from side to side. This is great for your hips and for all the rest of your body, your shoulders, your belly, your back.
Toughens the sides of your feet, too.
And up. That's a tough one. That's a very good one, too. You know, the one important thing with exercise really is to be consistent. If you're not consistent, then you know you can hang at the same level for a long period of time. But if you're really consistent, what you do really is get used to the stress until finally the little bit of exercise doesn't feel like much. You can keep pushing on and on and on without it seeming like very much work at all. It's well worth it because you really feel great. Isn't that right?
Right.
Mariana knows. She's been pushing steadily, and boy, it's beautiful to watch. She really is a good example for everybody. Oh, I started telling you before, you have 206 bones, you have approximately 435 muscles. Approximately, again.
I have another technical question, Maggie. What am I generating in the way of heat or calories
walking.
that I'm getting rid of?
John, just walking is using up 85 calories in a half an hour. And Paula is using up 250, just with that little bit of difference. And the rest of us are using up somewhere at least 350 on up. I don't know quite how far, but it wouldn't be any further than 500.
What do I use up when I study?
When you study, when you're really concentrating, quietly working away the book, you use up about half a peanut's worth in an hour, a whole hour. So that means for half an hour, sitting studying instead of running here, he'd be using up about a quarter of a peanut. That's not very much food.
It's not very impressive at all.
That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? Live that, oh boy.
Hey,
It'd be rough. Okay, let's try another one with deep knee stuff. And this, again, is a hard one. Beginners or medium people shouldn't try it. It's really hard. Just do the regular knee bends for the medium people. And the rest of us, come down.
Oh, yes.
Ow. It's, again, good for the thighs and the bottom. Stop smiling, Paula. asked her if she minded running all through the class, and I can see she doesn't mind a bit.
It's tiring. I'm getting my second wind, though.
Good, good.
What is the second
What
one?
is this? I heard about the
Second wind.
second wind. What is it?
It's a beautiful thing. It's, I don't know physiologically what it is, but if you keep running long enough, if you keep working hard enough, you'll get tireder and tireder and tireder, but if you just keep pushing, all of a sudden it's as if you just came out the other end of a tunnel. Everything is beautiful, you know you can go on forever. And it's, you know, it's a whole new burst of energy.
It's really true. You can see it especially when you're running.
Yeah,
Yes, you
The
can.
yeah,
the first mile or so is much harder than the second.
yeah, that's right. In fact, that's,
Weird.
I found that with running, if you run as far as you can, and then walk a lap, and then start running again, all of a sudden, you know, and if you can keep running, that's fine, but I wasn't in that good condition when I started. But if you walk and run and walk and run, you can slowly build up until you're running for longer and longer periods. By the way, you know, you're burning up calories. That was the whole idea of how many calories you burn up. It's the food you take in that you really should try to run off this way. Not by not eating as much, but by working it off. Not a good idea?
Yeah, but you also have to eat not quite as much, or at least I do. I exercise quite a bit, and I really have to be pretty careful.
It's according really to what kind of food you eat. It takes, you know, knowing
Yeah, well,
what
I'm one of
foods are
those
going to put
nervous
the weight
people,
on.
you know.
Try celery or carrots.
Oh.
You can be just as nervous with celery and carrots. As a matter of fact, you can't be. Your nerves get much better. Okay, jump from side to side.
Oh, that looks like a good one.
It is a good one. Keep your hips up off the floor if you can. This is great for your hips and bottom again. And for your shoulders, and for your back, and for your neck.
Carry on, men.
And up. And run. You know, infants and children always move. They constantly move. That's why the way Paula was caught at 4 is such a good idea. Up to that point, you move just naturally. But then you get put in school and they expect you to sit still for hours, and it's terrible for kids. She's lucky that she started the dancing, and it's beautiful for you. I'd be willing to bet that most of the kids about this high can keep up with everything we're doing today. I'm glad they're not here. They'd make me feel terrible. They usually don't even pant when they do it. It's the least they could do to make us feel
I
better.
should think.
Beginners, if you've been walking all this time, you're already building up. Anything you do today that you didn't do yesterday is growing. It's building. How you doing, Paula? You said before that you could feel your legs. How they feel?
They feel right here.
Can you feel it?
Yeah, right
The
there.
toe heel running really does get you down this part of your leg a lot more than just, you know,
But I can
running in
feel it.
place without moving your foot that much. The toe heel is very good for your feet.
I can
Excellent.
feel it even more when you say to go this way. You
With
know,
the knees
point
up.
your toe.
Yeah, you want to try everybody try this one. Roll right over onto your toes and down.
I feel silly doing that.
You shouldn't. That's great flexibility stuff for the foot.
Yeah?
It really is.
It's funny.
Okay, we can stop now.
Okay, and run. Got another good foot one. This is a funny one. It not only works on the foot on the feet, it also is a very good one for the bottom. I was trying to figure out the other day what would be a good way to get the bottom so the muscles were really tight. I'm just going to let you stop for a second so you can feel this. Turn your feet this way. Isn't it called the 5th position? In ballet, and your bottom tightens up completely. Is that what it's called, the 5th position? And that really tightens your bottom up right away. So what we're going to do is an exercise that pulls that in as much as we can. We're not very good at this kind of stuff. Put your hands behind your head and pull hard so you're doing a little work with the upper part of you too. It's the only time you can do isometrics, when you're moving fast otherwise. And jump. Keep your feet as close to each other as you can. And pull hard with your arms.
For the weight.
That's great for the bottom.
My feet don't bend out very much.
for the feet too. Try to keep them turned toe way out. Oh, look at her, she's moving.
As I said to Mr. Nuria the other day,
Don't want to make them feel bad. Each one of these things has some specific purpose, but I really try to work so many muscles into these movements where you're running at the same time that you're pretty much using your whole body at once. If you aren't, it's because you're not doing it right. Now, now, you move gradually up. But I hope that all the older people and any of the middle-aged people who are just starting are sticking with the walking or the jogging. If you really haven't started before, the way John's doing it is the best way. Just walk and make it toe heel. You want them all to dance?
how's that?
He invites you to the dance.
Da-dee, da-da, da-dee.
Oh, they're not supposed to do that. Okay, here we go. Down, one leg back and then the other.
I can hear your coffee gurgling.
And up, and run. I don't know whether you caught what Ray just said. He said he could hear my coffee gurgling. If you have anything to drink just before you exercise, you sound very much like a hot water bottle. One of those old-fashioned devices. Oh, another thing that's kind of interesting. Do you know how big a difference? We've got all kinds of incidental information here today. Do you know what the difference is between your skin and inside you? Difference in degrees?
Oh, temperature,
Yeah.
you mean?
No.
It's hotter inside.
Yeah, hotter inside. How many degrees difference do you think there is?
5.
You're wrong.
Figured as much.
Try again.
98, 10.
Well, it's between
75.
10 and 15 degrees difference between your skin and the inside. And when you start moving like this, it runs your temperature up. But if you start in warm weather exercising, you always find it's much easier to move. Because when you get warm, that's why I tell arthritics to stay nice and warm. Even if the rest of your family likes a cold house, dress warmly. Because it keeps your muscles relaxed. And you can move more easily. If you get cold, you get really stiff.
Yeah, I was up skiing.
Let's try something different, and everybody join me now. Okay? Now let's skip sideways around the...
That feels good.
Isn't that fun?
That's nice.
I hear all my ligaments cracking.
Feels good.
I'm not going fast enough.
Okay? And now, we're going to give 3 cheers for ourselves because we did such a beautiful job. Down. Arms out behind. Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
That's the third test. Isn't that beautiful? It really clears your sinuses, too. It really does. Good for you. Ciao.